I'm Dr. Darren Howarth, and we're going to talk about shoulder injuries, shoulder kind of complaints. This is a common one that comes in that always kind of bothers me a little bit, of just the misconceptions that come around it. So typically what tends to happen is someone comes in, or you meet someone, they say, oh, my shoulder hurts, I've got a rotator cuff tear. So first off, what is the rotator cuff? What does the tear actually mean? And some of the details. So we'll start there. So first off, so what is the rotator cuff? So I'll show you on my little anatomy map here. So shoulder, okay? So that's the scapula, so the shoulder blade. So we'll start here. So this is the back, and okay. Add some layers of muscle here. So the first one would be, so you've got your teres minor here at the bottom. You got infraspinatus, so under the spine of the scapula, if you're curious. Supraspinatus, that's above the spine of the scapula. And then go to the front here is the subscapularis, so that's the front of the shoulder, between the shoulder blade and the rib cage. So first off, shoulder cuff, or the rotator cuff, is made up of 4 different muscles. Next part, what's the most common injury when it comes to rotator cuff? Tends to be this one here, that supraspinatus. So that muscle is, so the one right on top there. So typically you can feel it almost right through there. It goes underneath the bone and then attaches right out on the side here. So a common issue with that one is it tends to, you'll get just overuse, chronic overuse injuries are typically what create injury to this area. Obviously, like a fall where you land on your hands or something like that could easily do it as well, but most of the time it's just overuse. So typically what's happening is you've got that bone that comes over the top and then that muscle that comes right underneath. And if you're moving incorrectly, or, well, yeah, you're just moving incorrectly, you're going to create that friction as that muscle rubs against that bone over and over again. And then it starts to become inflamed and tear, and could be a lot of different injuries. But, so typically what it would start out as is more of what's considered an impingement syndrome, is you're impinging that muscle between that 2 different bones, and now it's irritated and you're struggling to move the shoulder. And then getting to that next point is that's also the most common rotator cuff to tear. And then just as a reference, so typically most scenarios when there's a rotator cuff tear, we're not talking about like tearing into 2 different pieces. It's like a fraying where some of these pieces will tear, but it's still connected. Obviously, trauma will be more of you separated things, and that's a different story. But I always bring that up because of the fact that if you've still got connection there, that it's not a big traumatic tear, conservative treatment is a great option for stuff like that. Being able to change the way that you move, adapt the way that and strengthen some of the muscles to get them moving correctly, then you can take away that irritation, give it some time to heal, and then it's able to come back. The couple big things I'll throw out with shoulder injuries that are common is, one, they take a long time to heal because of the fact that there's a lot of stuff going on in the shoulder, and it's not going to be one of those like, oh, it just magically went away and it's all good. It probably took you weeks, months to get to this point, so it could take some time to get out of it. 2, sometimes as it gets better, it can move around a little bit, like in the sense of, oh, it started up here and it hurt, now it's over, now it's a little lower. So your shoulder's got tons of motion, and if it's moving improperly or just different, and then you change it, now it's going to irritate different muscles. It's not always a bad thing, but that's just kind of the process of healing is, okay, we're taking some of the tension off of this muscle, but it has to go somewhere, so it's going to go into a different muscle. However, that muscle not being as injured can tolerate the extra stress or load. So it's just a matter of changing things around and then being able to, once things are healing, now to retrain it to be able to move the way that it's supposed to, and then build strength on that new positioning. So it takes a while to kind of get all these steps to work out, but that's a big one I wanted to go over just because it's, sometimes I hear that just like, oh, I've got a rotator cuff tear, and it's like, well, for one, there's a few different muscles it could be, and are we talking like tear, or are we talking just you kind of strained it and it's hurting? So either way, there's a lot of things that we can do. Conservative treatment has been shown to be super effective in a lot of instances versus, oh, you need surgery. No, that's not as common as you think, and I think the research was closer to like 60% of the time conservative treatment is going to have better results anyways. So hope that helps. Like I said, I'm Dr. Howarth with Summit to Shore Chiropractic. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out. We can make another video and go from there. Have a good day.